in Tasmania, that's one of their main growing areas for apples and cherries and kind of the same kind of agriculture, similar to a lot of Northern California. They love their cider. They were able to get some French cider makers down to Tasmania and develop this style of making cider, which takes dessert fruit, and then it's all about blending the right fruits together. So you blend the right fruits together. We use 2 different wine yeasts. We do a malolactic fermentation, and then we age it in oak to bring tannin back. So you're really thinking about getting that whole structure back into your cider. So you want an acid balance, you want a tannin balance, you want all that to be just perfect. And then that juice comes in and we ferment that juice, so we'll add what's called inoculate. We inoculate with 2 different wine yeasts. And then it's a primary fermentation, so our first fermentation, and then we'll rack it, and then we add a malolactic, so it's a bacterial fermentation, and then we age it in oak to get that balance, that tannin back into it. And the oak is just to add tannin, it's not just to be like super oaky, so it's about 4 weeks in oak. So the whole process is about 10 weeks minimum. And like wine, we think it needs a little bit more time, and sometimes we're under the gun, but mostly, we like to let our cider age just a little bit longer. And then when we do the final blending, each blend's about 1,000 gallons, and then we're blending it by hand and tasting it, and each one's a little bit different. So another process in this that's different than other carbonated sodas or drinks that you might drink is when you're packaging it, when they bottle it, they force carbonate it, and you get those big, huge burpy bubbles. And I was always one of those kids that would let something go flat, so I liked root beer that was flat. What I found out when we're using our tanks is there's something called a carbonation stone. So you stick the stone in the tank, and that's how you get the little tiny sparkling bubbles in champagne and in beer. And when we did that with juice, you have these slight little bubbles in the juice. And what we're finding with the pear, which is amazing, is pear just has fructose and sorbitol. That's the only sugar. So the hyperglycemic index is lower on that. Where sorbitol acts kind of like stevia would, it's a natural sweetener, and you get that sweet taste without the sugar, which is interesting in a pear. And that's also why in pear ciders, sorbitol is an unfermentable sugar, so you'll always have what's called an RS, a residual sugar taste to it, but it's not a sweet taste, it's just what naturally occurs in the pear.